Peter, welcome. It's such a pleasure to have you with us today.
Glad to be here.
Peter, you have reframed ADHD as a superpower rather than a challenge. And in the process, you wrote six best-selling books and launched several businesses. When did you realize you had ADHD? And what specific strategies have you developed to harness the superpower?
I didn't really know until I got diagnosed in my late 30s, probably about 15 years ago, but I was always different. And growing up, when you're different before ADHD really existed, what I was told is I was wrong. Everything I did was, you're not doing it like everyone else. You need to focus, you need to pay attention, you need to stop interrupting the class. It was difficult. I was very much a free thinker and I had my own ideas and the ideas worked. The problem was that's not how things happened back then.
So it must have been tremendously challenging for you in all facets of your life.
It very much was. Yeah, it was difficult because I had a very hard time sort of fitting in. I had teachers who were constantly telling me that, I should just sit down and not say anything. I should do this, I should that. It was definitely difficult, no question about
Glenn, 24 marathons and 2 Ironman. Tell us about the mental and physical preparation that you go through for such high energy pursuits.
it. Well, the beauty of an Ironman or a marathon or something like that is that it's very much a sort of one job, right? You have to do this for a certain amount of time or distance until you get to this, right? That makes life very easy when it comes to how to think, right? I know that if I want to finish this race, I have to train this much, right? That allows me to sort of break it down and it's not ambiguous. It's here's what I have to do. Let's get it done.
Tell us about the mental preparation beyond the physical preparation itself.
Well, a lot of it is just understanding that, again, here's the challenge in front of me. Here's how long I have to do it. Here's what will happen when I'm finished. I look at it also along with, I'm a skydiver as well, and I jump out of airplanes for fun. And when you jump out of the plane, it's the most free you'll ever be in your life because you only have two options. Your options are you can open your parachute and live, or you cannot open your parachute and you can die. Those are literally the two options you have when you're skydiving. You can't decide to fly back up to the plane or do it over or whatever. You're committed. So things like marathons, you start that marathon, you have 26 miles until it's over. You train for that marathon. You know, if you don't do this many miles on this day and this many miles on that day, you will not be prepared. So a lot of it works perfectly for ADHD because you're taking the questioning out of it. You're taking the choice out of what you have to do. And if you don't have choice for someone who's ADHD, life becomes a lot simpler because you simply go and get things done.
How did you get into skydiving?
I decided, again, an ADHD thing. I was running a PR firm, my first company, and I decided it would be fun to take a whole bunch of CEOs in the dot-com boom skydiving. We'd all go together, get some press from my company, whatever. Well, 150 people and myself, we all went. 149 of them had a great time and never needed to do it again. I got addicted and got my license.
How do you avoid burnout in your work and in your life with such incredible pursuits?
ADHD people are not really known for balance, but balance is important. I rarely go out at night. I tend to my daughter is 11. She's usually asleep by 8:15. I'm usually in bed by 8:30 because I get up at around 3:30. I get up to exercise because I'm a better person after I've gotten the chemicals, the dopamine, the serotonin that you get from exercising. If I didn't do that, I wouldn't be as good. For me, it comes down to being able to understand what priorities are most important. 8 hours of sleep or 7 hours of sleep is a priority for me. And a lot of people say, oh, I wish I could get up that early. Well, you can. You just have to get up that early at the expense of something else, which maybe might be binge watching TV late at night or, being on your computer or your phone. When you decide what your priorities are, it becomes a lot easier to find them.
Since you just spoke about your daughter, if you can share with us how parenting has changed you in any way, if at all.
So there's definitely, there's two ways to look at it. I am you could argue that I'm a great dad because of my ADHD and that I think a little differently, right? I don't, she does something wrong, I don't yell at her. I don't flat out go right to punishment. We think about, and there are times for punishment, but we think about what we could do to make the situation better next time. On the flip side, I also have the the ADHD also means that I'm basically a kid myself, but with means. So last May, I picked her up from school, and she goes, "Where are we going? We're not, home is the other way." I said, "Oh, we're actually going to the airport." She goes, "What?" I'm like, "Yeah, I thought we'd fly to Paris to see Taylor Swift tomorrow." And so she had like this incredible experience. She was blown away. The concert was great. And that's something that when you are, people might say, "Oh my God, I can't just go for the weekend to go see Taylor." So that's crazy. But when you're ADHD, you're like, "Okay, let's see if we can get this done." And we do it.
Absolutely love the spontaneity behind the parenting and the surprises that I imagine that you may bring along all the time. That is absolutely awesome. What advice would you give to people that have potentially just gotten a diagnostic?
Do your research and understand what ADHD is, what it can, where the benefits are, where the curses are, where the negatives and positive are, what you have to be aware of in terms of it. In other words, you might have been told all your life that ADHD is considered a curse. It's a failure. On the flip side, you can find the benefits to it, as I have. And maybe you do that with the help of a psychologist. Maybe you do that with the help of medication. Maybe you do that with the help of a friend who's gone through this before. But regardless of what it is, understand that it's not a disease. It's not a death sentence. You've simply been gifted with a different type of brain, a faster brain, a brain that can make great decisions and come up with great ideas, but also needs to be kept on the road because it's very easy when you're going that fast with that kind of brain. It's very easy to fly off the road in an unexpected turn. So you got to take care.
So tell us about some of the strategies. I know in one of your books you highlight that, for example, when you go to Las Vegas, you make sure that you're literally flying in, giving a speech or doing whatever you need to do, and then flying out. This is one strategy that you have shared. What other strategies have worked for you to, avoid temptations or or complicated situations, essentially?
Yeah, you have to do something. I call it playing the tape forward. You want to think about where you're going to be in 12 hours. Are you going to be feeling good? Are you going to be feeling bad? The decision that you make right now, what is that going to do for you in 12 hours, right? Okay, I'm in Vegas, I can stay the night and gamble and drink. How am I going to feel in 12 hours? So playing the tape forward and asking yourself, how am I going to feel about this decision I'm making right now in 12 hours? Am I going to feel better or worse about myself? Or would I feel better or worse if I just went up to my hotel room, went to sleep, and then woke up super early in the morning and went to the gym? Right. So you ask those questions of yourself and create an environment that works for you.
There's medication that's available for ADHD. I was curious if you could share your thoughts on that.
For me, I have a prescription for one. It does the job it's supposed to. It's not for everyone. For some people, medication is great. For others, not so much.
And do you take the medication on a regular basis or really
No,
very
no,
strategically?
I take it usually about once or twice a month. It's a daily medication. I take it about once or twice a month when my assistant tells me, "Hey, you have 4 meetings today. You need to be on your game." I don't think exercise is going to be enough.
Mhm.
So at that point, yeah, I'll take a pill and it'll help me focus a little bit more.
And how do you handle stress and pressure? And are there any specific techniques or mindsets that you recommend for our listeners?
Exercise is hands down. Exercise is the most underutilized antidepressant in the world, and food is the most overused anxiety drug. So I am not saying that exercise is going to cure everything, but it's a damn good start. I am just a better person on days that I've physically moved and sweat in the morning, and to me that helps me. I'm not sure about other people. I wouldn't claim to be an expert on this. I just know what works for me.
You are an expert, however, in customer service, and I especially liked your book, Zombie Loyalists, on this topic. How can companies create joyful experiences for their customers that leave lasting impressions?
The best way to do it is really to think like a customer. Too many companies think like employees, where the key is to get them off the phone, to make your numbers, to make yourself. Ask yourself what kind of slight little amazement can you bring into every customer that will then allow them to do your public relations and marketing for you. They will tell the world how great you are. If you are there and you're able to do a small little thing that excites them, they will go and tell the world how amazing you are, and they will want to share that with everyone.
And are there specific strategies that you have used for your own business ventures that have really wowed your own customers?
Something as simple as responding to emails when they come in. Too many companies send emails from an email address that starts out with "do not reply, we'll never see this email" at theircompany.com. I try very, very hard to reply to every single email that comes in from anyone. Sometimes it takes a little time. That small little personal touch has gotten me more clients and more speaking gigs and more whatever. I've landed speaking gigs simply because I picked up the phone when it rang. The the bar isn't that high.
Tell us about some of your business ventures, and I know you're also the creator behind Harrow. So, how did the ideas for some of the ventures you've created emerge? And tell us more about them.
I currently run a company called sourceofsources.com, which is at sourceofsources.com. Source of Sources is SOS is similar to what Harrow was, but much, much better. But the company I sold Harrow to has since shut Harrow down after 15 years. So I relaunched it as Source of Sources. It is a media connector. It helps people get free press for the media simply by answering queries that come in by their email. I started it because I talk to everyone. One of the things about ADHD is you talk to everyone. And when you're on a plane, you know, unless there's someone who unless someone fakes their death, I'm pretty much going to know everything about them by the time we land. And so being able to create a database for that helps a ton of people. So I created Harrow, now SOS, to do exactly that. And for me, building companies tends to come from coming up with an idea that is useful, not only to me, but to other people. And then figuring out where that idea has legs and how it can grow. That's pretty much how I've always done it.
How do you actually define success? And has that definition evolved over the course of your career and life?
Success to me is, am I happy? At the end of the day, if I don't know the difference between uh, whether I worked or whether I had fun, for me, that means I'm happy. And that means I've done the right things.
And do you see a difference between happiness and joy?
Happiness is a state of mind. Joy is something that is given.
And if there would be a recipe for joy, what would be the three main ingredients in your view?
Helping people.
Can you give us a story that has really moved you?
When I started Help a Reporter Out, we had someone who used the service who ran a bakery in the Midwest, and they were about 5 days from becoming insolvent and having to declare bankruptcy. They answered a query from a media outlet. It wound up being the Wall Street Journal. The Wall Street Journal featured them on the front page of the paper. Their business went through the roof. I get on an airplane, and I always, every time I get on an airplane, I have a giant bag of M&Ms, and I give it to the flight attendant. And I'm like, hey, this is for all of the flight attendants to help improve your day. I carry $2 bills with me. They're rare, and not a lot of people have ever seen them. And they're supposed to bring good luck. When I see someone who's doing a good job at something, or a barista or whatever, I give them a $2 bill. It's figuring out how to live your life in such a way that everyone benefits from it, not just you.
What do you think we need to do collectively to actually bring more joy to this world, particularly when you're thinking about so many individuals that are struggling with mental health issues, suicide rates that are going up? What needs to change to actually bring more joy to this world, in your view?
The best thing we can do is stop thinking about ourselves and start thinking about other people. Unfortunately, we live in a world where at least 50% of it only gives a crap and cares about themselves. And I think that's very sad.
Among all the six books that you have written, which is the one that you're most proud of?
I think faster than normal because it's definitely helped people. And I still get emails almost every day from people who have read the book and found it really, really useful. So knowing that I've helped, it's one thing to help a company, but knowing that I've helped people really makes a difference to me.
And going back to parenthood and your daughter, what are some of the key values that you are currently instilling in her life to ensure that she's living a joyful existence?
I tell her that the only time you should care about how much the person next to you has in their bowl is to make sure they have enough. And I am trying to teach her that she is a warrior princess, not just a princess, not just a warrior, but the best of both worlds. We say our affirmations every night, and being a single dad is tough, but I'm having a blast with it. She's a great kid.
What are some fun things that you have planned with your daughter soon, or is it really just spur of the moment spontaneity? Like, do you really plan things also in advance that you find joy in that?
Yeah, a lot of times we just sort of come up with an idea, and I was randomly looking up where the largest water parks were in the world, and I found one in Tenerife, and 3 days later we were on a plane. So
Amazing. Any final thoughts or words of wisdom that you may wish to share for our audience?
I've yet to meet anyone in my life who on their deathbed said, I wasn't angry enough. I worked too much. Just try and have fun. Life's too short.
Well, Peter, thank you. Really, really grateful that we've had this opportunity to connect.
My pleasure.